everybody. Welcome to Shed Talks. I'm your host, Cam, and we've got everybody else here. That's Bob, Kyle, Ben, our surprise guest, and Alex.
No Ruben.
No Ruben today. He's off being in Colombia.
I was told he was being a sandwich.
It's true. A sandwich in Colombia.
I was told
is that a...
Wait a minute. I was told he infiltrated Wizards and is giving us top secret tech.
You're not supposed to say that part.
Anyways, today we're talking about pet cards, our personal favorites, and what they are. So pet cards are essentially cards we love and just fit into decks, even when they don't really belong there. We just try to always get them in there. They're cards we favor, we enjoy, we find specific. So my card, for example, is Canopy Cover. It's an enchantment for 1 and a green, and it gives a creature hexproof, and they can't be blocked except by creatures with flying. I love this card because it's a down and dirty enchantment that you can go on your aggressive decks and then protect your commander and get in there. I try to fit it in every deck possible that runs the color green. Even when it doesn't make sense, it's just a good way to protect your commander. I like the card a lot because it's one that I found a specific use for, and I just try to get it in everything.
It's a cheap, solid protect my commander. That's not any of the instant ones that are good. I'm totally coming up blank on the 1-drop green, give them hexproof for 1 turn.
Snakeskin Veil.
Yeah, Snakeskin Veil.
Yeah.
Or,
Veil in Summer.
Veil of Summer. Yeah, all these cards that I can't think of at the moment. But it's that added bonus of the pretty much unblockability.
Yeah.
That pushes it over. And yeah, I don't have it specifically too many, but any Enchantress focused stuff, it was first on the list.
Yeah, I try to fit, even in decks that are hey, I win by storming out. I still put it in there because sometimes you need to tap with the commander. You need to get through
those ever so common green storm decks.
Yeah, well, it's possible in Teamer colors, especially nowadays with a lot of things.
I play 1v1 commander, and
not volleyball.
Yeah, commander. And I run Thrun sometimes as my commander, and he already has troll proof or whatever, stapled onto him, but he doesn't have trample or any type of evasion, and so I run the Canopy Cover and Thrun for its really good evasion for the troll on that one, especially in the format where it's 21 commander damage. Yeah.
It's also an enchantment, so it's on the third tier of removal. Creatures are first easiest removal, then artifacts, then enchantments. And if you can slap it down with them without them responding to it, it's really good.
That might be. I'd say there was a day and time where people in general didn't run a lot of enchantment removal, especially those to go back to an older phrase, local enchantments like auras. People wouldn't run in general because it was so much a creature removal was a 2-for-1. And that's definitely changed now, but I think also for that specifically, it takes out that, if I destroy the creature, then I get both the creature and the enchantment, because all of a sudden you can't now.
Yeah, it does have that drawback, is it's a 2-for-1 if they can take your creature out or make you sack a guy. But still, the benefits of the unblockability in the Shroud is just so good.
Have you ever come across a thing where you throw it in the deck, just does not fit, and you draw it in the game, and you're just why?
Oh, absolutely. There are several times when I'm why is it in here? I don't see why it's in here. I don't need to attack with this. There are several times, but that's what you play it for. So Alex, what about you? What's your pet card?
Contested Cliffs. I brought it here as a visual aid for myself. But it's a land, and I remember first seeing this land I think it was an Onslaught block constructed, and there was a beast archetype. And what the land does is basically you tap it in a green and a red, and you make target beast you control fight another creature that the opponent has. And this was the first land where I really saw this is direct damage removal, targeted removal from a land. And so I fell in love with the card. And when Commanders started coming out, I wanted to play this card in something. And so I created a Beast Tribal deck. And so my commander ended up being Marath. A lot of people do Marath with silly combos and stuff. And I don't have any of that. It's Beast Tribal. So I have Wirewood Savage in there to draw cards and just everything beast in there.
How
I
savage.
remember this deck. This is 13 years ago plus. But I remember it specifically because we were playing, and you had Marath, and I think I was playing Ural, the Miststalker at that point, which was either first or second Commander deck for me, because that was what I was getting back into Magic, and Commander was what really pulled me in. And the specific story is that we both went, it was just, we couldn't stop each other. You had nonstop life gain with stacking beasts to gain 4 life each, and then Pulse of the Wilds to make more beasts, and I couldn't get past it. But
It was the Ravenous Baloth, sack a beast
Yeah,
game
that
for
was it.
life.
That was
Yeah,
it.
that's
Yeah.
in there. Yeah.
I couldn't get past the life gain, and I had something for life gain too, and you were able to stop Euro from commander damage. And then we hit a point where I cast. It was the 2 cards in my hand. I'm like, oh my god, this would be perfect. And I cast Warp World. And we both had a huge amount of tokens. So and you said, okay, in response to Warp World, I'm gonna Spike Weaver. I think it was Spike Weaver.
Probably, yeah. I would run Spike Weaver a lot.
We shuffled in everything. I got all but I think 2 cards out of my deck back into play, and it was a huge amount, including Beastmaster Ascension and a bunch of
Maelstrom Wanderer, too.
Yeah,
right? That gave everything haste, I think?
something that gave them all haste. Oh no, it wasn't that. It was the other card in my hand.
Oh.
So I did that, and I had all this. I'm like, okay, cool. Insurrection. So I took all of your stuff, and I had all of mine, and you're on 300 something life, and I have all the triggers from all the landfall and the creatures and everything, and it's and the Beastmaster Ascension, it's I have 1,000 damage on the board, that you swing in, and you're I Spike Weaver, I fought, oh my god, no! And so then just for the next 4 turns, you just said draw go, because I only had 3 cards left in my library. And that is, I have such a fond memory of that, and that's specifically that Beast tribal deck you had at that time.
Now, do you try to fit contested cliffs into everything? If it has a good number of beasts, are you this is an option?
Well, what I've gotten into the pattern of whenever a new set comes out is I'm looking at the beasts first and foremost, and then any new beast technology goes into Mara. But
Beast technology.
This is the Transformers decks. Anyway.
We'll get there.
hopefully we'll get more beasts.
More Transformers?
We'll get the Dinobot cycle, and maybe they'll
I don't
have
know what
dinosaur
it means,
beast names.
Is
or,
Traxxas and
tribes.
Krug a beast? Because he's a Dinobot.
I don't have that one in there.
No, he's not. He's a construct.
That's like a Transformer. Are Transformers constructs? Or are they just artifact creature?
They're robots, I think.
I think they're literally. I think robot's a keyword now.
I need to go back to the showdown video with Blaster. Combat
Comment
teammate.
DJ. So Ben, what about you? What is your pet card?
Well, I have Risen Reef here.
I
love
Risen Reef.
I have made multiple commander decks where this is just the entire deck is kind of just built around this card.
I think Risen Reef is where we came up with the idea of the honorary commander.
Yeah,
Or
Secret
the-
commander.
the
Secret
secret commander.
Yeah.
After, I think actually Prophet of Krufix was the first one. Because every deck it was Prophet of Krufix.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I love elementals. I like putting lands into play. I like drawing cards. Everything all in one. I've made an Omnath, both Omnaths, the 3-color, 4-color, Yarok, just lots of elemental stuff, good stuff.
You don't have 5-color.
No, I have not made that one yet.
There are 4 Omnath decks you could have put Risen Reef into.
I could have.
Ben, you have poisoned Alex against Risen Reefs because whenever anyone else plays it, Alex is like, "That's the most powerful card in that deck." Which is
It's like Kill on Sight.
I think it's so good. It's amazing with elementals. It's just good on its own too.
It's just Coiling Oracle for one more.
It's in most blue-green for me. It's definitely in Tulane.
Yeah.
It just works. And then it's good at 3. And if you happen to have another elemental in the deck, it just adds more and more to it.
Anything that doubles up ETB triggers, like Yarok, I run it in there. Anything with Panharmonicon, just like every day, all day, every day.
In Standard, there was a blue-green ramp deck, basically, and I just said, Risen Reef is good enough just to make it elemental, so I went full send on the Cavalier of Gale, I think,
Cavalier
the
of
blue one.
Thorns.
And the Thorns one, too, and then Risen Reefs, and I think I just put in, like, an Omnath, because I think he's an elemental, too, and then just some random other elementals, too.
Like, I remember that deck. I remember playing a lot against that deck when you cross the picket lines and you're like, oh, the Risen Reefs.
back when Standard existed.
Yeah.
And then I had, like, it was like a jumpstart copy. And then I wouldn't copy Cavalier of Thorns or Risen Reef.
Risen Reef all day long.
I think Risen Reefs is possible.
Yeah. Rite of Replication.
Yeah.
Risen Reefs.
Bang, bang, bang,
16, I think. Yeah, 16.
Because each one triggers off of it.
30. Yeah. So you get 4 with Rite of Replication? Or you get 5? Oh, you have the original one, too. You're right. That's 20.
It is truly a ridiculous card that you can do ridiculous things with. It's just, it's so good.
You know what's another ridiculous card that you could do ridiculous things with?
What's that, Kyle?
But only if you plan for it. Because otherwise on its own, it's just kind of neat, is Teferi's Puzzle Box. It's very much for me a pet card. Around town, there's a number of Cajafolio signed ones that I had that made it out into the ether when the store was open. And sadly, I don't have any of those ones anymore. So if you guys happen to see any of those, I'd love to have one.
I have one of them.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool. But no, like it's beginning of everyone's draw step. They draw like the normal stuff, and they take their hand and they tuck it under their library and draw that menu. So every turn, you have a fresh new hand of goodness.
Goodness.
But if you can...
Yeah, that's what he says.
Goodness.
Goodness. Fresh goodness.
Yeah.
Because everybody loves doing it.
Yeah.
Fresh.
No, and that's one of the best things. Like, that's why I like it so much, is that it's not going to go into a deck that isn't going to plan for it in one way or another. But nobody else is going to expect to, like, windfall their hand every single turn, pretty much. So it's very much at that point almost exclusively beneficial to you. It combos brutally with Narset, part of Veils, where all of a sudden everybody else gets one card.
It did combo brutally with Hull Breacher, but we don't talk about it
for a little bit. Yeah.
Actually, and I even said that wrong. You draw your card for turn,
and you get
and then you Teferi's Puzzle Box, and you get nothing because you've already drawn for Narset. I love it personally in Xyrus, because the trick of that deck is, how do I make it worthwhile where you get cards and I only get a 1/1? Yeah. If I can get like 31 1s by the time it comes back around to my turn, that seems decent.
Well, it has a special effect in Xyrus. It makes like a sound effect whenever you make a snake. I forget what it's called, but what's the sound effect?
I forgot it for a second.
Back in the day when it first came out, it comboed with Underworld Dreams, I believe, is the
the draw and take a damage.
Yeah, whenever a player draws a card, they take a damage.
Yeah. I think that was also the sweet spot of when it came out. Was like, I think it was like my first year of college, and so like naturally I moved off and went to college and never went to class and just played Magic. And so it's like this fond memory of a time when things were simpler because I didn't have consequences yet.
Hey Bob, what about you?
Mine was a bit difficult. I couldn't think of anything that really resonated with Bob. I couldn't think Bob plays this all the time. So I came to the conclusion, what do I throw in all of my decks that just doesn't belong there? And the answer was Urza's Saga. I can't tell you how many times I've played that, and then it pops off, and I'm like, I don't have a 0 or 1 drop artifact. Hear me.
I like this card so much.
Mistakes have been made.
I make mistakes.
Clearly, I put in a 0 drop artifact, right?
And
mistakes. Go get my Lotus Petal on turn 10.
Mistakes were made because I have the Soul Ring in my hand or in play, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I 9 times out of 10, I don't even make the constructs because I'm just like, I'm going to go and get something really good when that goes off. What it is, I don't know, but when it gets here, it's going to be great.
Is that like, I've also seen it burn you as it's an enchantment, and I've seen people destroy it and like now you're down a land because they have enchantment destruction. Like I've seen Kyle use like what is it, Felidar Cub to hit the Urza Saga and be like, oh, Bob's down now.
Yeah, it's disappearing mana, so it's just right out the gate. It's not going to stick around. And I'm like, this card's in deck construction. I'm always like, this card's really good. It's going in here. It gets me a Soul Ring, or I don't know, it gets me something really good, or it makes me a body. It's going in. And that's it's been the folly of Bob too many times.
Folly of Bob.
Too many times.
Like in the Bible, the folly of Bob.
The folly of Bob.
He looked back upon his Urza Saga and it turned to a pillar of salt.
And it turned to a pillar of salt. Yes.
I think you kind of fell into that trap today because like I sent him a Tom Bombadil deck list, and Ben was like, "Where's the Urza Saga?" And I'm like,
It's a saga, man.
It's a saga, guys.
It's true. But then I'm like, I have no artifacts in the deck right now. It's like chock full of enchantments, and so the only thing I could see it was like an enchantment ETB. But then, what were the cards you brought up with?
It was Parasite to remove counters from sagas, and I think a Claw gets in there.
Yeah, so the Urza Saga could actually tutor for those, but I wasn't thinking that. Yeah,
but
I like how it's like I'm gonna run Urza Saga so I can get my Claws of Gix. said Ben.
Yeah,
like,
said Ben always. But that's one of the ones that really resonated with me when I thought pet cards, because it's one of those. It fits into any deck easily. It's land, it's colorless, and you always go in there going, it's gonna get me a Soul Ring. Well, what's worse than a first turn Soul Ring is a second turn Urza Saga with no other search targets in your library.
I mean, you could make a construct, and that'd be helpful.
Most of the times I forget, because when I put that down, I'm not thinking I'm going to make me a construct in my mono red non-artifact deck.
Often people forget that it has any other modes.
It's true, and the decks that I wind up putting it in, like normally when you put that in there and you're in clear headspace and you have focus, unlike me, you throw in other artifacts. So it's like, I'll make a guy, he gets really big, maybe I'll throw out some treasures, he'll be like a 20/20 by like turn 4. Not this guy. This guy's like, I'm going to put this in, 3 turns later, I'm going to get something that costs 0 or 1. What that is, I have no idea, but I'm getting it. I'm getting it good.
I feel like nowadays it's actually a real metric, is like, I can get this with Urza Saga now. Like that's like a thing that you think about when putting cards in your deck now.
Not this guy.
Is this Sagaable? Like, I was making a Shorikai, and I was really debating on whether I should have Manifold Key in, and I think the thing that like put it over the edge was like, I can get this with Urza Saga.
Yeah. So we had good pet cards. Yeah, and then our second round on the table.
Contested clips. Is that good?
That's good.
Teferi's Puzzle Box.
Yeah.
It's good to us, like in your perspective of yourself. Some people may have named actually good cards. Yeah. Whether they play them as actually good, that's different.
I'm feeling a lot of heat from my side here.
Oh, no, I think you actually had a good card. Urza Saga.
Urza Saga. I would say out of all the cards,
I'm getting a lot of heat from that side of the table now.
Super good. Like the most good. Anyways, my second pet card is another enchantment. I have a theme. It's called Web of Inertia. It's 2 in the blue for an enchantment that says at the beginning of combat on your opponent's turn, to be able to attack you, they have to remove a card in their graveyard. And the reason it's one of my pet cards is not because like it's good. It can be good in certain situations. But the reason it's my pet card is it's like the first combo I realized in Magic the Gathering happened. Like I was like 3 months into playing, and then I saw Web of Inertia and Planner Void. Planner Void's another enchantment that says when a card goes into a graveyard, exile it. So with that, I was like, I can never be attacked again. And it was like the first combo I had seen on the internet anywhere, and I was like, this is my invention, and I love this card for it.
I think Alex is going through the same thing that I'm going through right now, where it's like your first combo is from that era, and that you didn't see on the internet. And I was like, I remember trying to find combos before realistically the internet was an option, and like it's like, oh, it's so cute.
It was 98 or 98, 99. I think
there's like a 1 year gap where all of a sudden it's all on me.
It's
It was
all
Judgment,
on me.
right?
Yeah, Judgment.
Yeah.
I think it's 2001. I want to say.
Sounds about right.
But like it was the first time this is a combo I came up with myself, and I immediately bought every web of inertia for the 5 cents it was worth, and just had been running it ever since. And every time there's a deck with blue, I'm like, can web fit in here? And like it just holds a nice nostalgia place in my heart.
Web of Inertia just came out in our last game, our last showdown video with Umbris. Which
when I was brewing Umbris, Cameron was pushing that pretty hard because I
wouldn't do
because I had a lot of nuke everybody's graveyard strategy, and if you don't have a graveyard, you can't pay the Web of Inertia.
Yeah, you cannot be assaulted.
The other one I have in there is Mists of Stagnation. I believe that's an untapped one. It's an enchantment where you, during your untap step, you can only untap permanents for as many cards in your graveyard.
Yeah.
I thought that was the one where they introduced pandas and monks.
That's a different.
That's a World of Warcraft reference.
That's a good joke.
I love
like it's nighttime. It was literally.
I'm sure there are several people watching this going like, I got that. I know.
You feel good about that joke?
I'm just thinking about my favorite first combo right now, actually, because I was really proud of it.
What was your favorite first
It's
combo?
really dumb.
Yeah, okay.
Chocolate and vanilla.
Yeah.
Phasing and Sands of Time. Because
You were that guy.
This guy.
phasing happens during your untap step. Sands of Time, everyone skips their untap. In the beginning of their upkeep, they simultaneously tap everything untapped and untap everything tapped. So the penalty for phasing cards doesn't exist anymore. You can keep that 3/2 flyer for 3 mana every turn. It's so good.
It's so good.
No,
But-
actually,
but if
the meme combo in it was Shimmer, where you named a land type, and those lands gain phasing, and so you phase out your opponent's land, and the next turn you just windmill slam down the Sands of Time, and they're screwed, and you actually get a win.
Oh, so
The deck was not good, but I that was like it was a sweet spot for me because I was like, oh, I figured this one out. I'm like, oh.
Is it a win, or do they just get to watch you play for the rest of the time?
Well, you win while they watch you play.
Oh, so they just get to watch you play is what you're
So you stopped playing Magic and started playing Solitaire.
I guess.
saying. Alice, what about you? What's your next one?
It is actually this card here, Nissa Vastwood Seer. It is a promo from the Origin pre-release that my son went to on a 12 and under sealed event. It was in Berkeley, and they actually had a 12 and under event, so it was just kids running it. And we did a day trip down there, and it was Origin sealed, and he opened up Nissa. I think he got a dragon too, or something like that.
Got Managorger Hydra.
Managorger Hydra. I run this in Marin. That's kind of like my pet deck, Marin Clan Neltoth. And this is a green card. The Nissa is a green card, and it's just kind of like, well, this is kind of my favorite card because I have so many memories to it, so I wanted to just include it in my pet deck. So it's like a pet card because it has all these memories attached to it, and I want to put it in my pet deck.
Point of emphasis. There's a bat in here. It's driving me crazy.
Oh, there's a bat now? You see it?
No, I hear it. It's over in that corner. And it keeps squeaking. It's driving me nuts.
I made friends with him. His name's Reginald.
That's not true, because I'm going to kill him, and his name is Timothy. I named him yesterday when I came out to try and kill him.
Wait a second.
Yeah, you weren't here. Be quiet. I was hungry.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
You having a good night tonight?
I've been better.
Oh.
Wow. Ow.
I missed on purpose.
What do you got?
So my pet card is Springleaf Avenger. It is a 5 mana, 6/5 ninja with ninjutsu for 4. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. I have not yet gotten somebody with this card, but the day that I do, I will let you guys all know, and I will be so excited.
This isn't the hopes and prayers episode.
Green Ninjutsu.
Green Ninjutsu. I have a Yuriko deck, and I was like, can I make this deck green somehow? I couldn't, but...
So, this is a personal mission for you?
Yeah,
that's your
I
pet
will-
card? You're
yes,
just anything green. I'm going to make this happen.
It's a 4 mana Eternal Witness.
It's a 6/5.
Yeah.
It's an Eternal Witness that
It's
works
a
out.
6/5.
Like that's
It's also just a giant bug.
I like
Okay.
Cool.
I like how you put your heart and soul out here, and we're all just immediately ripping it.
You know what?
I understand, Ben. Good luck in your endeavors.
Thank you.
You don't have to like your friend's pets.
That's
So
not
that's-
true.
that's
I love all
totally
my
fine.
friends' pets. Except
wait, hold on. Wait,
Nothing.
no, I'm unpacking that. So, like, is Kyle his own pet? Like,
what? Except I said I love all my friends' pets, except for you.
I thought you said I love all my pets' friends.
That's true too. I mean, sometimes.
Wait,
sometimes when my dog brings home
Could that
other
be the
dogs
same?
and they're cool. Sometimes they're not. They go in the front yard or go in the backyard. Sometimes they go in the living room, and I'm a little upset. And so I say bad. And don't bring your friend over here anymore.
I say bad. Anyways,
This is the weirdest improv.
yeah.
Keeps me on my tootsies.
So, you guys want
Not-
my original?
What's up, dog?
All right, now continue.
Do you want my original pet card? My
Yeah,
original
here's
Groovy
one.
pet card, or
No,
my
no, no,
Alex
no.
inspired pet card?
Alex
Give us both.
inspired.
Okay, my first original one. Let's do the Alex one because Alex
I
was
like
sweet.
the Alex one.
Alex one is going to be Gishath, the dinosaur, because my daughter is 12 for another month and a half, and she absolutely loves dinosaurs, and has forever. Like it's just not. It's never going to end. And she's getting into Magic, and I built her Gishath so she could play Commander, and I didn't go too crazy with it. I'm like, I just can't beat this deck. I have never won against this deck. I even asked her the last time we played, I said, so are we playing to learn, or are we playing for fun? Or playing for real? Or are we playing for fun, or are we playing for real? We're playing for real. Okay, Cathar's Crusade. And just started going crazy. And she Blasphemous Axe for 1 mana and recasts Gishath and swings in and gets like 4 more dudes. I'm like, I can't recover from this. Like this stupid deck. And it's like I hate it. But I absolutely love it because those games I really enjoy it. They've got like a special part of my memory.
I can't tell you how many times you've come into the game hub and been like, yeah, I built this new deck. It gets crushed by Gishath, but I built this new deck.
I know that it ramps on like turn 5 Gishath because I think you have like every explosive vegetation effect in the world in that deck.
It's all the 3-drop mana doublers, so you can reliably turn 4 Gishath. If you have four lands and a mana flare, and it comes out, and it's rough. My original card, my real card, I might say, or my original card,
Real card.
is reverse damage. Cameron, would you care to explain?
Okay, so reverse damage is a card, right? And it's like an instant, and it stops damage, and then it sends it the other direction.
It's a 5-drop white and red instant that says redirect all damage from a single source back to its owner's back to its control. This very specific reason I've run it numerous times is I'll put it in a deck until I get a play it. Because Blasphemous Act exists.
Oh.
And so 20 creatures on the board, and I'll play Blasphemous Act. Okay, reverse damage, you take 260 damage. Because it returns all damage from a single source back to its controller. And it doesn't target. So if it's a creature that has, like here comes 21 commander damage from Umbris, or 80 commander damage, that reverse damage just sends it back and you can't hexproof yourself out of it. But the Blasphemous Act is just so delicious every time.
It's so delicious.
So essentially,
Delectable.
your pet card is a tripwire that you're just waiting to go off, and then that's it.
And as soon as it goes off in the deck, it comes out for a good card. I put it into a white-red deck because it's hilarious when it works. And it doesn't work often. But I love the card because it's such a unique effect to just all damage from a single source.
All of a sudden.
Goes right back. And yeah, I just love that card for that.
Bob, what about you?
Well, my bad card, it's not that bad, but it's a major combo piece in a lot of stuff. But the reason I really like it, The card in question, of course, being Intruder Alarm. So the reason
I don't think Bob got the memo on
That's
this.
Urza
Like,
Saga and Intruder.
I use
Alarm.
Urza Saga because that's my good card because I'm bad at using it. And my bad card is a major combo piece.
I love how I put my heart and soul out there and then just get ripped to
I believe
shreds.
30 seconds ago you're like, oh, Ben putting his heart and soul out here, getting wrecked up.
Yeah.
My pet card is Soul Ring.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I thought he was going to
Whatever.
say Island.
Island, yeah, sure. You know, I like Intruder Alarm because my very first deck was Slivers because I'm a terrible person. It's just a fact.
Inaccurate.
That's accurate. Terrible person, and I had no idea. I just put what I thought was amazing in it, and I was like, Intruder Alarm. It's gonna stop it. It's gonna untap all my slivers when a sliver comes in. It'll be great. And then game probably like 3 or 4 that I'm playing, and I finally get it out there. And the person across the table goes, that's infinite combo, right? You win now. And I go, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never. And he described it to me. I'm like, oh, I've seen the light.
I like Bob says my first combo deck or my first commander deck. It is Bob habitually builds and takes decks apart. Today he's like, before I came here, I finished up 3 more decks.
I didn't finish. I took 3 apart and failed to repair it. It was a bad day. Bob's not happy today.
One deck. He
What do you
always
want?
says, why are you so defensive?
Because you're mean to me.
I'm not mean to you at all.
My feelings earlier.
One deck, he's always dead, and that's Slivers.
It's
The
true.
one deck that'll never come apart. The one deck to rule them all.
The one deck to rule them all.
So I believe Bob has a pet deck and not a pet card.
That
Hey.
sounds like a future video.
It might very well be.
Next time on The Mana Shed. If you like what you saw here today, consider hitting that bell and subscribing. We're going to keep doing this until you tell us to stop, and then maybe a little bit longer because we're rebels.
I can guarantee you there are people that are going to tell us to stop.
Yeah.
But we're rebels.
So
Does that mean-
many.
Rebels.
Rebels.
Us guys.
Thanks, you guys have been watching The Rebel Shed.
I like that. The Rebel
Rebel
Shed.
Shed?
We're changing names. Look for us under The Rebel Shed.
Don't do that. This is our name. This is our name. We are the Mana Shed. Do
Right
that.
here, The Rebel Shed. And if one of these people
So
put The Mana
half a
Shed in
tile.
here, it's a bad day.
One of these people.